is not expected to be on for 8 to 10 days.
When it got really bad, we got into our hallway.
This Covington woman rode out Hurricane Ida.
You know, we have a cat. We decided, well, we'd stay.
She's blessed to have her home in one piece because across the street, it's a different story. This is her neighbor's home. She tells us the family was here when Hurricane Ida hit. Luckily, they got out safely, but as you can see, there's major tree damage to their home, and one of their vehicles is crushed by debris. Power is out for at least another week, and many are trying to beat the heat and keep their generators running. However, gas supply is falling short.
This craziness, it really is, you know, just it's not real.
This Shell station ran out of regular gas early in the morning and left with premium, which cost customers $4.19 a gallon, but they say it's worth it.
To keep my family cool, yeah.
At one point, too many drivers were using credit cards. An employee told us that tied up the fuel system, and customers were left to pay with cash only.
It's been aggravating because you got a generator, so the generator keeps you alive.
Jordan Howington, Eyewitness News.
Now to Terrebonne Parish, and the devastation left by Hurricane Ida is really spread across the area.
One of the hardest hit areas is Houma. Molly Oak from our Tegna family is there now and joins us live. Hi, Molly.
And you know, we actually made our way down to Chauvin. I'm standing outside Brent and Brenda's home. Like many homes in this area, serious roof damage. Inside, they say the ceiling collapsed. Brent says it looks just like a complete disaster. Speaking of disaster, look right across the street. Just devastation of this home. Now, neighbors did tell me that the people who live inside of this home, or what was a home, did evacuate before the storm. You can see there is at least one car underneath there. Looks like parts of the kitchen are left over, no roof whatsoever, just damage everywhere. It's honestly choking me up a little bit just standing here and talking about it. This is what they're seeing throughout this area. The further we push down to Cocodrie, they say, it gets even worse as long as we keep going down the bayou. Now, people in this area still have some serious needs. As we were coming in from Houma, we saw lines outside the gas stations. That is, those gas stations that had gas and those that weren't completely pummeled by Ida. We also saw those lines outside the relief centers as people tried to get tarps, water, food, just whatever they needed to push through for a couple more days. You probably hear that generator going behind me. Still no power in the area. We're going to keep trying to push down, see how far we can go. We'll check back in with you guys at 6. But for now, reporting live, Molly Oak, Eyewitness News.
Molly, thank you so much. And Entergy crews continued working to restore power for a 6th straight day after Hurricane Ida.
The utility company promised big progress today and through the weekend. Our David Hammer has been tracking the progress and joins us in the studio now. Hi, David.
Hi, Devin and Charisse. Entergy estimated the vast majority of customers in several New Orleans neighborhoods, Lakeview, the Lower Garden District, Mid-City, and the Warehouse District among them, would be restored today. Now, so far, we understand that only the Warehouse District has been largely restored out of that group. We also learned that the hardest hit areas to the west and south of the city, that's Lower Jefferson and Plaquemines parishes, Lafourche, Terrebonne, St. James, St. John, St. Charles, and Tangipahoa, are all going to have to wait weeks for power. But the progress in the last couple of days has been undeniable. Entergy reports power is now back to about 300,000 of the 900,000 customers who lost it in Louisiana during Hurricane Ida. That's because the utility was able to restore 6 of the 8 main transmission lines feeding high voltage power into southeast Louisiana.
We've made great progress repairing transmission lines and the substations that I've noted here, and this is the backbone for power delivery to customers. This has to be in place for power delivery to the distribution system.
Now, the city of New Orleans now has 27 of its substations back online. That means crews can focus on fixing the downed power poles and wires to get electricity fed back into homes and businesses. And we're also learning today that Entergy's Waterford 3 power plant, the nuclear plant in St. Charles Parish, safely shut down before the storm, and there was some damage to support buildings there, but no damage to the nuclear facilities. Entergy said it was able to keep all critical systems running at Waterford using generators, but can't provide a time for restarting the nuclear plant there.
David, you mentioned that there's some updates for Jefferson Parish too. What's going on there?
Well, we just got in the last 2 hours a map that shows where areas can expect to get power back in Jefferson Parish, both the East Bank and the West Bank. and it's pretty spotty, but tomorrow we're going to see some things maybe in the Elmwood area, up in the old Jefferson area coming back on, and then that'll expand tomorrow and into Monday maybe in the Clearview area. But as we saw with New Orleans, it's not necessarily following exactly along with their plans as they announced in advance. We'll just have to keep checking to make sure that they meet those expectations.
Can I ask you about the map a little bit? So many people have been posting the map saying it says my power's on, but it's not. Are we trusting that right now? Even
Entergy acknowledged this morning and yesterday that that map that shows in green and red what's on and what's not on has not been very reliable. They are saying that you should stick with what they're saying are those plans for restoration up to 90% in each neighborhood, parish, and area. Again, we have to keep following along to make sure. They are trying to keep that updated, but they're saying you should go to the entergy.com/Hurricane Ida to see where those restoration points are more accurately.
All right, David, thank you so much for your work.
Well, we also have an update on power restoration for Cleco customers. More than 71,000 people now have electricity in St. Tammany and Washington parishes. At 8:30, Cleco provided an update from when more people will get power. So here's a bit of a breakdown by town and neighborhood. In the Madison Bell Oaks area, expect to be in the dark for another 8 to 10 days. Now that wait is shorter in Lacombe, just 2 to 4 days. And in Covington, restoration times vary between 2 and 10 days, depending on the neighborhood. And if you get power from Washington St. Tammany Electric Cooperative, that company says all delivery points and substations are energized. That means only individual feeder lines now have to be repaired. Right now, St. Tammany has just over 12,000 outages. Tangipahoa and Washington parishes combined have about 6,000 outages. And there are signs of progress tonight in Jefferson Parish, as we just mentioned, as power is slowly being restored in some areas. And Gretna, one restaurant is back in business and helping first responders. Duke Carter has more on what they're doing.
Well, people who live here in Gretna are slowly starting to see power, electricity return to some of the homes and businesses here in this vicinity. And we caught up with some people not too far away at the Rouses. They say they're just grateful and pleased to see that coming back. In fact, they say they're going to actually help out with the community this evening. Some people we spoke to actually bought a shopping cart full of food to make sure they are ready for tonight.
Blessing in disguise, I tell you that much.
Because of how long y'all been without power?
Ooh, we went out Saturday morning. We went out early. We went out real early. So I would say late Saturday. It was out. So yeah.
Gretna Depot had power returned this morning as well, and so they're doing their best to make sure first responders can get a meal, whether it is a hot plate or sandwiches. But they're just glad that people are coming out to help.
You know, I'm glad it's coming back, and I don't care if my house can stay dark forever. As long as we have it here to work in some air conditioning, these people were getting miserable. You know, we started out with a dozen. You see we have here now. We got the diehards that came back.
But in the end, the people here in Gretna are just pleased to see people come out and make sure others are doing the best they can, especially after Ida devastated the area not even a week ago. For now, though, reporting Duke Carter, Eyewitness News.
Duke, thank you. If you heard some loud booms last night in New Orleans or Jefferson Parish, they are nothing to worry about. Well, crews were using dynamite to bring down fallen power lines. So you're looking at the aftermath of that explosion. This is in Harahan. Neighbors were evacuated before the blast, and police set up a 1,500-foot perimeter around the site. It took several hours of work to set up the dynamite. Our reporter there told us the explosion was earth-shaking. Well, 3 more nursing home residents, unfortunately, have died after riding out the storm inside a warehouse. More than 800 people were packed from 7 nursing homes into the building in poor living conditions. This now brings the death toll connected to the warehouse to 7, 5 which are classified as storm-related. 10 other people were hospitalized. Well, nearly a week after Ida roared through LaPlace, residents are working through the long process of cleaning out their homes from the devastating floods. Our Meg Ferris is in LaPlace with a look at the recovery efforts.
Right here where I'm standing in LaPlace Park, this area was underwater, and as you can see, all the water hasn't drained yet. Look down the street here and you can see slowly, the waters are receding, but it's leaving just a big mess for people in this area. Throughout LaPlace, there are cries for help.
It's just hard. Me and my brother ride all day, and we have to find a place to sleep at night. And I'm asking FEMA to please help us because my brother's disabled and I have arthritis in my knees. It's hard. You don't know how hard it is.
We lost a lot out here. Like me and my kids, we don't have nothing but what you see. My whole house tipped over. It's stressed out because I have my babies. See, if it was just me, it'd be all right. But I have my babies, so it's so much on me right now to where I don't know to turn left or right.
People around here say they haven't seen any boots on the ground yet from government agencies. Right now, they're doing it all on their own.
The melted ice, we have to pick up the ice chest and pull it over in there.
That's so you can flush toilets?
Yeah.
Now that the water has finally gone down, it was a sense of relief because yesterday I was actually tearing flooring out with the streets still flooded.
But there are sunny spots of hope. This man, originally from Mexico, spent about $3,000 of his own money. Then he loaded up his trailer with water, food, baby supplies, and toiletries. Then he drove throughout the night from his home in Texas because he saw the devastation and need in Laplace on TV. His son, Jesus, is only 15.
We didn't have nothing to do on the weekend. This came out of heart that we was going to bring, like, you know, we don't got nothing to do, so might as well just bring people stuff.
We all suffering through the heat. We can't cook. We don't have no gas. We don't have nothing. But we just thank God for people that are trying to help, you know. For the reach out, that's a blessing.
No water in the house, but they're passing out water for us. We have nothing in this neighborhood.
But with all this sadness around each home in Laplace, you find people like Harold with an unbreakable spirit.
Man, I love y'all, Saints. Yeah. We're going to be all right. We're going to shake back. We rebound after Katrina, and we're going to rebound after this.
And probably the most difficult thing is, like in many disasters, it's not just a few people. It is so many people here in Laplace who are hurting. Reporting from Laplace, Meg Farris, Eyewitness News.
Heartbreaking what's happening to people down in Laplace. So while we're getting a look at Lafourche Parish 6 days into Ida recovery, these videos were taken in LaRose and cut off.
Entergy says it will restore power in Lafourche no later than September 29th. That is a long time now. A reminder, over in Thibodaux, there is still a curfew in place from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Stay tuned with us here on WWL-TV.
We have more special coverage of the devastation left by Hurricane Ida when we return. Well, we heard from Governor Edwards this afternoon on relief efforts across Southwest Louisiana.
He addressed scams, unemployment, and relief programs that are available now for those in need of assistance.
Now, anytime you have a disaster and anytime you have relief programs, you're going to have people who are out there who are not good neighbors, and they're going to come in and try to take advantage of the situation with a scam and fraud. FEMA representatives always have a badge that identifies themselves. They are never going to ask you for money. So understand that. If you have any question about who you're dealing with, whether it's with respect to FEMA or somebody who's a contractor or whatever, you take pictures of them, their automobile, and their license plate. Because if they're trying to scam you, chances are they're going to leave you alone when you do that. If you doubt a FEMA representative is legitimate, don't visit with them. Hang up on them if they call you, and call FEMA at the same number to report the incident. That's 800-621-3362. Earlier this week, we announced that the Army Corps of Engineers has activated the Blue Roof program. Already 33,000 people have registered for this service. It is free to homeowners in the following parishes: Ascension, Jefferson, Lafourche, Livingston, Orleans, Plaquemines, St. Bernard, St. Charles, St. James, St. John the Baptist, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, Terrebonne, and just added St. Helena Parish as well. We have additional parishes that are being assessed. Again, this service is free to homeowners. Now, it has to make your home habitable, so if your home is destroyed to the point where a blue roof doesn't allow you to live in it, you're not going to qualify. But if you have any questions about whether you qualify, we want you to call. And you can call toll-free 1-888-ROOF-BLUE. There is no E on the end of that, so it's 1-888-ROOF-BLU. And that is 888-766-3258. I'm going to encourage everybody who has roof damage to make that call because I saw last year after Hurricane Laura, this same program delivered 13,000 or 14,000 roofs in Southwest Louisiana. The homeowners who took advantage of this program had blue roofs installed professionally that actually withstood Hurricane Delta. Those who did it themselves, those tarps were blown off early in that storm, and then they did not have that protection, and they actually suffered more damage than they otherwise would have. And it doesn't take a hurricane to do that. As you know, it rains here quite frequently, so please avail yourself of this program. Disaster unemployment assistance has been turned on for the 25 parishes that were part of the major disaster declaration granted by the President. The best way for people to file their disaster unemployment assistance application is online by visiting www.laworks.net and using the LWC Hire portal. Typically in Louisiana, unemployment claims come with what we call a week of waiting. I want you to know that has been waived. There will be no week of waiting when you complete one of these claims and you are eligible. We want people to get their benefits as soon as possible. I'm extremely grateful to President Biden and FEMA, and I was able to tell the President this yesterday, for activating, upon my request, the Transitional Sheltering Assistance Program, which will bring much needed relief to people from Southeast Louisiana who need temporary housing.
Well, supplies are being handed out in many locations around the area, including Slidell.
That's where we find Jalissa Garza from our Tegna family. Hi, Jalissa.
Hi there, that's right. This distribution site here in Slidell started early this morning at 8 a.m. You can see cars are still lining up. We're told that over 1,000 people have come to this exact distribution site. Water, ice, tarps, meals that are ready to eat, all these supplies coming from FEMA. And again, over 1,000 cars have come today. Now with me, I do have Sergeant Cortez with the National Guard. He's here to talk about what you need to know about tomorrow's distribution site that's going to be taking place right here. Sergeant Cortez, what do people need to know for tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're going to open up at 8 a.m. We close at 6 p.m.
And look, come on, we've got water, we've got lots of MREs, we've got tarps if you've got roof damage, and come and get some. I mean, the lines aren't that long. It doesn't take that long. So we'd like to see people in the community come out and get what they need.
And I know earlier when we spoke, you told me over 1,000 cars have come today. Yesterday you had a distribution site as well. How many people showed up yesterday?
Yes, we had over 1,000 show up yesterday, and we equaled that today.
And so after tomorrow, do you know where you'll be heading next, or where the next distribution site will be at with the National Guard?
Well, we have several distribution sites that our company is engaged in: Mead, Covington, Franklinton, and wherever they need us next, we'll go. But we'll be here until we're not needed anymore.
Awesome, thank you so much. Now again, this distribution site opened at 8 a.m. and it's wrapping up. It's going to be closed at 6 p.m. Again, water, tarps, ice, anything that you need. Tomorrow they'll be here again at 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated with all the information that you need to know. Live in Slidell, Julissa Garza, back to you.
Well, a 20-year-old man is facing murder charges tonight after allegedly shooting a man at a gas station in Metairie. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, Joe Lopinto says, Joe Lopinto says the shooting happened after Walter Scipio tried to cut in front of people waiting for gas. When he was confronted by Dwayne Nasaka, Scipio went back to his car, grabbed a gun, and shot Nasaka. He later died at the hospital. Scipio turned himself into police a few hours later. He's currently in custody.
Stay tuned with us here on WWL-TV.
We have more special coverage of the devastation left by Hurricane Ida when we return.
From WWL-TV, this is continuing coverage of Hurricane Ida.
Well, you can apply for federal assistance by calling the number on your screen, 1-800-621-3362, or you can visit the website disasterassistance.gov. We posted the link on our web app and website at WWL-TV.com.
We're keeping track of which businesses are open in New Orleans. We know things like gas and open restaurants and things like that can be hard to find. Just text us the word open to 529-4444. We will send you a link to the list. You can also find it on our website, WWL-TV.com. Now, this is where you come in. If you see somewhere that is open, help us out. Post it to Twitter with the hashtag OpenNOLA, and we will add it to our list.
And we want to make it easier for you to find information for your specific area. Take a look at the screen and find the number next to your parish, and then you text the number to 504-529-4444. You can get specific information like road conditions, power status, school closings, and much more. So if I'm in New Orleans, I'll text the number 1 to 504-529-4444. Jefferson would text the number 2, and so on. Officials with the Archdiocese of New Orleans have announced most Catholic schools will reopen by Monday, September 13th.
Officials with the Archdiocese say some schools with minimal damage could open sooner, but others, particularly in the river parishes, will remain closed until power can be restored and repairs can be made. That is because the damage is much more extensive there.
Each school will undergo a full assessment once power is restored to check air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing systems. The Archdiocese says parents will be notified when they confirm a school is ready to reopen.
Attention parents, we've received updates from a few school districts on their plans for the upcoming week. School is still canceled until further notice in Jefferson, St. Tammany, and St. Bernard parishes. All three of those districts say they still have to finish assessing the damage to buildings, and power is still out for many areas. At this point, there are no plans to hold online classes. We're going to head over now to Alexandra. It is so warm out there, and we have heard the rumblings, Alexandra, of what is happening in the Gulf. I think we all have our fingers crossed. That's
yes, I know, and we're going to be tracking it, but there is some good news with that. We're not expecting it to have the kind of environment in the Gulf that Ida did a week ago. It's a very different scene. There's some different obstacles that it will be facing. So yes, we're going to get in detail with that in a second. But first, yes, Devin, super hot. Our heat advisory continues tomorrow. Now we got a very, very slight break in humidity, but it's still feeling really hot. I think this evening might feel nice once our temperatures start to drop. But again, tomorrow our feels like could be 100 to maybe 105, topping out in spots. Invest 91 is that next area that we're talking about that might be entering the Gulf this week as probably just a loose, very messy sort of system. It will face some obstacles, but it will likely still send some moisture our way. And that's really the main thing that we're thinking, even if it develops a little bit more into maybe a depression or again, maybe a tropical storm at the very highest level. It looks like that's what it would become. Or it could stay completely messy and loose, but still a rainmaker with rain returning Monday, but more so the downpours around Tuesday and then maybe even Wednesday and wrapping up on Thursday from that surge of tropical moisture associated with Invest 91. Again, more on that in a second. Let's touch quickly though on our heat. Our high temperatures today in the lower 90s. Feels like temperatures kind of depend up to about 100 or upper 90s. So again, the little break in humidity is helping at least a bit with our heat index, but it still feels hot. We have a couple of spotty, stray showers and storms, especially near the coast, but that's about it. For tonight, we'll keep our rain chance slim, mostly clear skies, eventually low temperatures in the lower to middle 70s. And again, I think this evening might be pretty pleasant with that break in humidity and temperatures no longer at least in the 90s. We'll be dropping through the 80s this evening. Tomorrow, we'll say highs around 93. That was our high today at the International Airport in Kenner. Just a slight chance, just like today, for maybe a couple of stray showers or storms. The main thing for most of us will be the sun and the heat, and of course, just the continued heat for those of us without power. So many people still in southeast Louisiana. Here's our precision cast showing a little stationary front kind of weakening, surging to the north. And then here is another front that will actually eventually dry us out as we move into the end of this coming week. But first, you can see Monday, here's our flare up of a few showers and storms. And then this is Monday evening, maybe even a heavy downpour here and there. We do not need heavy rain on all these areas where we have roof damage and other sorts of damage where rain really wouldn't be a good thing, but at least it'll cool it off a little bit. And it does unfortunately look like we'll have to be prepared for that Monday. And then, as I said, Tuesday and Wednesday. And again, that would be due due to some tropical moisture. In the tropics, we have Larry out here. It's a major hurricane, but not going to affect us. And then this is Invest 91. So look at Larry's path. We're not expecting it really to get anywhere near us. It's going to ride around a ridge of high pressure off to the north. And right now it might even stay well east of Bermuda without coming closer to the U.S. So we'll track it, but that's how it's looking now. And of course, all our eyes are on Invest 91. It really would be unfortunate to have another system, even if it's just a depression or a tropical storm, as we move into just barely a week or so out from Ida, but it does look like there will at least be a chance for development. But I do want to point out a couple of things. First of all, the chance is low at this point. Even the National Hurricane Center kind of looking at the potential, keeping the chance pretty low right now. So we'll see. We'll track it for sure. But look what a mess the models are. Some of it have it kind of just meandering around here, fizzling around here. Couple bring it into the Gulf. So this is not one of those setups where we're getting a really good idea of exactly where it's going to go. Generally, it looks like the moisture will surge north. That's why this area is highlighted. But these are very messy at this point, as it's not a developed system, and it might never be a developed system. Look at these obstacles too. Dry air indicated in the tan areas here, and also these bright colors are also unfavorable winds, wind shear, which tends to keep formation for hurricanes and tropical systems kind of hindered. So let me show you with our GFS model. Just note rain, really not seeing that spin up, the classic sort of circular shape, just kind of bringing some moisture into the area. And if it were to drift a little bit to the east of us, that might actually keep some of the heaviest rain off to the east too. This is the European model showing the same thing. Maybe a closed low, so maybe a depression, but a lot of the rain really would be the main impact for the Gulf Coast. At this point, the forecast for the next 7 days shows about 3 inches offshore, and you can see 1 to 2 over land areas. We'll have to see, though. This could easily change a little bit as we get a better feel for what Invest 91 does. But you can see that we are anticipating some rain along the Gulf Coast. And again, we'll have to watch for a couple of heavier downpours because there will be so much tropical moisture in the atmosphere. We'll be tracking it for you. The timing on that, again, would mostly be midweek, late Tuesday, Wednesday, and then into early Thursday. Here's the latest on Larry, by the way. It could soon become a Category 4 storm. And the models are in pretty good agreement, keeping it off to the north and maybe even, as I said, outside of Bermuda. So not affecting land areas at this point in the forecast, but we'll continue to watch it. Look at this. By the end of the week, Thursday into Friday, we get a front moving in, and that will actually set us up for a little break in humidity, a break in the rain, and maybe even a little bit of a break in temperatures Friday and Saturday. So it's very, well, it's not very comforting, but a little comforting to get into September and start to see these fronts moving in. We'll see more of those in October and of course into November. And when that happens, sometimes that can kind of shield our area when these fronts start coming through from tropical systems. And so that's why once we get toward that second part of the season, our Gulf Coast area sometimes, can benefit from those cold fronts. So again, nice to see that happening, and at least we will have that to look forward to this weekend. But of course, we'll be tracking everything closely. We'll keep you updated on Invest 91, but at this point, I would plan for some rain midweek as our main impact.
All right, Alexandra, thank you. Stay tuned with us here on Channel 4.
Oh, we have more special coverage of the devastation left by Hurricane Ida up next. Well, thank you for sticking with Channel 4 as we continue our Ida aftermath coverage.
Our Candace Charles is at a distribution center in New Orleans East tonight. We join her now with the latest as people go out and get supplies. Hi, Candace.
Hi, now this is just one of the examples, and I can't say this enough, of the East helping the East. I'm right off Winn-Dixie, right off Chef over here, and I tried to find a few places that had food distribution and maybe some water for folks out here, and I cannot lie here, it was a little bit difficult to find that, but like I said, the East comes together for the East, and definitely this is one of those examples. I'm joined by Juanita Carruth here, and she is the person who kind of put this all together. She has some of her family here that's also here, put it together with her as well. Why did you decide to do this?
I did it because the community needed it. We didn't have a lot of resources here in New Orleans, and people needed food, so I said, let me put my catering cap back on, and I said, let me bring the food to the people, and this is free of charge.
All right. Now, what has it been like in the community? I know you can't speak a lot for everyone, but just riding through the streets here, you can see how Hurricane Ida made a huge impact. What has it been like in this community?
I can tell you for myself that we're running off a generator. I still don't have lights, so when Dixie just opened up for the community to let people come in and get something to eat because it's been very scarce. There's not much gas out here. There's not much food. So I was like, I called my cousin. Her name is Tashara. She's with Grace, Texas. And I said, let's do something for the community. And she said, hey, no need. Let's do it.
This is really just amazing to see. Now, I know you guys are looking at all the food. Your mouth is probably watering right now, but I'm going to let her tell you what you got out here.
Well, I can tell you it's almost gone now. We did have red beans and rice out here with cornbread, barbecue ribs, barbecue chicken, and hot dogs for the kids. We had some water as well for people if they need something cold to drink.
All right, and you guys will be back here tomorrow.
Tomorrow for 5. Tomorrow for 5. We're going to scrape up something. If you'd like to donate, you can donate to Families Against Child Trafficking in Grace, Texas. Plus, we are both on Facebook. So if you'd like to donate, send your donations. Follow us on Facebook, Families Against Child Trafficking in Grace, Texas.
All right, thank you so much, Juanita, and thank you for being out here making this amazing food for people. I know they really appreciate it. Just watching some of the folks come by, getting food, everybody was really emotional, to be honest, and very excited and just happy to be able to have a warm meal. It's something so simple, but it's really needed right now. Toss it back to you guys.
All right, Candace, thank you so much. And if you are all looking for sites like this, we have them all on our website. That's WWL-TV.com. And you can find a hot meal that way. They're very needed right now. We heard from leaders in Jefferson Parish just a short time ago.
Yeah, they provided updates on the gas shortage, sewage, and electricity.
Lift code, necessary supply, of course, for our public safety vehicles, our firefighters, our police officers, our essential employees. So don't worry about that. The people that need to respond will have the gas, but we're trying to get gas for everybody else, and so we certainly need to be patient. Remember, as I said, we got hit at our refineries. Our 8 refineries were also part of the damage zone, and that is a double whammy to our area, that our refineries and our gas supply at the source was also taken out for this storm, and that's not what usually happens, but that's what happened with this storm. I assure you that by the time your Entergy comes on, we are working very hard to make sure your sewer and water system is stronger. If you are uncomfortable and you cannot live without electricity, without internet, we still have low water pressure. We're under a boil water advisory still. Or if you have health issues that any of these issues might exacerbate your problems, we need you to stay away for a bit longer. Fortunately, schools have told us that they're not going to open next week, the Catholic school and the public school system. So if you can afford to be away and life, again, we're putting it back together day by day, and we're trying to give you all the information that you need to make your own decisions. And we do make advances every day, but this is the reason for these briefings, is to give you as much real-time information as possible for you to make your personal decisions. My family is still away. My family is still going to stay away for a few more days. I tell them to touch base with me every day, but my family still is, my recommendation is that they are still away. And they want to come home, but I'm asking them to still stay away. Remember, many of the stores that are open are cash only, and you can refer to many of the social media sites, I'm told, for different store openings. So I've been too busy to understand, but I know stores are getting the word out that they're open. So please just pay attention. Things change very quickly.
Well, our Meg Ferris spent the morning in Laplace, which saw some of the worst from Ida.
Well, she spoke with a homeowner who lived through Hurricane Katrina and is now getting his home for the second time. He says he's trying to stay positive like so many of us are.
Right now, I'm just trusting in God. You know what I mean? God has got me this far. I mean, I've been going through a lot over the last couple of years. So, and look, I think I'm like the first one on this block in this neighborhood with someone to come out here and do something to their home. So, I mean, he's just showed me every day it's nothing but favor. So that's just where I'm at with it. I'm taking all this with stride, and I thank God I survived this thing with my life, and I'm just ready to move forward.
Well, St. Charles Parish President Matthew Jewell has lifted the mandatory evacuation order. Now residents can begin to return to the parish, but you've got to know power restoration may still take between 4 and 6 weeks, so you need to bring enough supplies to last that long. Stay tuned with us here on Eyewitness News.
Yeah, we have more special coverage of the devastation left by Hurricane Ida when we return. A major story that we broke here on Eyewitness News. 3 more nursing home residents have died after riding out the storm inside a warehouse. More than 800 people were inside of that warehouse, packed from 7 nursing homes and packed into the building that was in poor living conditions.
This brings the death toll connected to that warehouse to 7. 5 of them are being classified as storm-related. 10 other people were hospitalized.
Of course, we continue to follow that breaking story. The cost of Hurricane Ida has not been tallied just yet, but it is expected to add up to tens of billions of dollars. Many thought the damage would be limited to the Gulf Coast, but the scope of this destruction in the Northeast caught millions of people off guard.
Now, forecasters warn climate change could cause more storms like Ida. This week, CBS News' Michelle Miller spoke with 2 experts about how the U.S. can weather future climate-linked disasters.
When Hurricane Ida blew ashore, places like Grand Isle and Laplace in Louisiana expected to be underwater. But the devastation in the mid and North Atlantic regions were unprecedented.
There were accounts of dozens of people who had drowned in New Jersey and New York. I mean, it was literal that this storm is coming for you.
Andy Horowitz teaches history at Tulane University and authored Katrina, a History, 1915 to 2015.
Did you expect that we would be where we are now?
I certainly feared that we would be where we are now, and the sort of policies that we make to aid people or not, to help people go home or help them find a safer place to live, are really gonna be the story of Ida, much more than simply the wind and the rain from last weekend.
The Biden administration's $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan would support renewable energy and public works to cut emissions.
There's another bill in Congress, the budget reconciliation package, which is $3.5 trillion, that gets a little closer to the scale of the problem and really makes more investments in clean energy and trying to move us away from burning all of the oil that is causing these problems and making them continually worse.
But according to geology professor Rob Young of Western Carolina University, it can't possibly protect more than 60,000 miles of U.S. shoreline.
It's not about what we put on the ground to fix or protect things. It's what we're putting in the air right now that's warming climate. That's where we need to be focusing our energies.
And for people living in vulnerable areas, he says, mitigation is no longer an option.
We have to be able to have a serious, honest discussion about what we do with places that we know are so vulnerable that they're always going to be at risk, and the risk is only going to go up with changing climate.
All right, there's been so much, Charisse, that we've been covering today, and we do have crews all over the area to talk about some of the things that we have seen.
You're right. And I know that we've been talking about, there's been this big discussion about climate change. We have a devastation in several parts of the country. We have, of course, Hurricane Ida that's down here, the flooding that Hurricane Ida brought to the northeast. And in the meantime, you have on the West Coast mass fires that are in different areas. So, of course, there's burn bans in that area. So it's so much that is happening in this country, and climate change is becoming a big topic, and of course a topic that the Biden administration is covering.
Well, and of course, too, this is now our third major storm in one calendar year. We had Zeta and Delta, and also now we have Ida, right? And remember, last year we had the two hurricanes headed our way at one time. And what's remarkable, you and I were just talking about this, Ida packed enough power that it still did that much damage to New Jersey and Pennsylvania and New York. Really remarkable.
And I think that the first day Ida hit that area, more than a dozen deaths and more. They're expecting more to rise here. And so far, I believe that we have more than 10 deaths here in the southeast Louisiana area. So, of course, everyone is going to need some sort of assistance here. Everyone is going to need help, and it's coming from all corners of the country. So remember, go to our website, WWL-TV.com or disasterassistance.gov to apply for FEMA funds so you can get the help that you need.
All right, stay tuned with us here on WWL-TV. We will be right back after this.
From WWL-TV, this is continuing coverage of the Hurricane Ida aftermath.
So Saturday marked another big day for Entergy crews restoring power across southeast Louisiana.
Investigative reporter David Hammer has been keeping an eye on the utility company all week and is joining us in studio now with an update. David?
Entergy Louisiana CEO Philip May called Hurricane Ida one of the most devastating storms ever inflicted on his utilities infrastructure.
Incredibly, the number of poles damaged or destroyed is already more than we saw in Louisiana from Katrina, Zeta, and Delta combined by a large margin.
The damage totals are staggering. 22,000 power poles, 26,000 spans of wire, 5,000 transformers, especially in places that took a direct hit. St. John, St. James, and Tangipahoa parishes won't have their power fully restored for 2 more weeks, September 17th. And in Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Charles, and Lower Plaquemines, they'll likely have to wait over 3 weeks until September 29th.
In Terrebonne alone, we have over 3,000 poles that have been damaged. Significant damage down there. So that will require a lot of work.
But just as surprising has been the earlier than expected return of power to 300,000 of 900,000 customers, mostly in the heavily populated areas of Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jefferson Parish, and St. Bernard Parish.
We've made great progress repairing transmission lines and the substations that I've noted here. And this is the backbone for power delivery to customers. This has to be in place for power delivery to the distribution system.
The key to that has been restoring the high voltage transmission lines that failed during the storm. One of those included that crumpled tower in Avondale that we showed you first on Monday. But Entergy managed to restore 3 of the remaining 7 lines by Friday morning, and 3 more were brought back on by Saturday morning, giving Entergy 6 of the 8 lines to create a loop so the metro area can handle more power from the regional grid. In New Orleans, all 27 substations where the voltage is lowered for distribution to homes and businesses are back online.
We're feeling really good about our progress and understanding that we will continue to make more progress and look forward to getting every last customer restored.
Some customers are coming home and finding power back on their street, but not in their house. Entergy's Vice President of Distribution, John Hawkins, said customers will have to hire an electrician if equipment on the house is damaged, like the electric meter or weatherhead. If Entergy's service line from the pole to your house is broken, that's Entergy's responsibility, but it could be a while.
At this point in our restoration, we are focused on trying to get the most amount of customers on as soon as possible, and this would also include critical customers. So being able to address those individual cases might take us a little time. However, they will be in the queue.
Now, Charisse and Devin, just a few moments ago, I got a copy of this letter sent by New Orleans City Council President Helena Moreno to Entergy New Orleans CEO Deanna Rodriguez. And basically it says the council, which regulates Entergy New Orleans, wants to make sure Entergy does not pass on any of the costs of recovery, or as little as possible, to its customers in the city of New Orleans. Moreno says the city wants to help Entergy recover those recovery costs using state and federal assistance and storm reserve funds set up after Hurricane Katrina, which now has about $39 million in it. But this letter also asks Entergy for a report on the best way to avoid passing on those costs to ratepayers, and that's going to be big for frustrated residents and businesses as they try to recover also, and especially as you hear that some of them are getting their power back on in their area but are not able to turn it on in their house.
You know, unfortunately, there have been such negative experiences between customers locally and between Entergy, most recently with the cold snap happening in December and power bills going up astronomically. Some people don't have that trust in Entergy, and they say that they're not trusting the estimated restoration times, and they're concerned that they're going to have to pay for this mistake.
Well, all week we've been telling you about how Entergy has kind of been shifting their explanation on the use of the New Orleans power station in New Orleans East The expectation was it was going to be able to start up and get us power even when we were shut off from the rest of the country. And that was not done. And there are big questions being asked by Moreno and other members of the City Council about why that is.
All right, we know you'll continue to follow this.
We are asking those questions as well and waiting for answers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Well, if you heard some loud booms last night in New Orleans or Jefferson Parish, there are nothing to worry about.
Now, crews were using dynamite to break down fallen power lines. You're looking at the aftermath of that explosion. Now, this is in Harahan. Neighbors were evacuated before the blast, and police set up a 1,500-foot perimeter around the site. It took several hours of work to set up the dynamite. Our reporter there told us the explosion was earth-shaking. We also have an update on power restoration for Cleco customers. More than 71,000 people now have electricity in St. Tammany and Washington parishes. Good news there. At 8:30, Cleco provided an update for when more people will get power. So here's a bit of the breakdown by town and by neighborhood. In the Madison Bell Oaks area, expect to be in the dark for another 8 to 10 days. Now that wait is shorter in Lacombe, just 2 to 4 days there. And in Covington, restoration times vary between 2 and 10 days. That depends on the neighborhood.
And if you get power from Washington St. Tammany Electric Cooperative, the company says all delivery points and substations are energized. That means only individual feeder lines now need to be repaired.
St. Tammany has just over 12,000 outages. Tangipahoa and Washington Parish combined have about 6,000 outages. Officials are working to get disaster food assistance approved in the aftermath of Ida, and they say that if you're interested, it is best to pre-register right away. You'll have to do that online at the website you see there on your screen.
They say they've also upgraded the system, so if you've registered before in the past, you'll have to register again for Ida. Regular SNAP recipients are not eligible for DSNAP, but if you are eligible for additional benefits, they will be loaded on your card automatically.
And we have seen the devastation left by Hurricane Ida across the metro area and beyond.
Of course, one of the hardest hit areas is Houma. Molly Oak from our Tegna family is there now and joins us live. Molly.
Yeah, well, it seems like there's disaster on just about every corner in Terrebonne Parish. As we were driving through Houma into Chauvin, we've seen down power lines, really dodging them with our van. We saw the trees falling over, houses destroyed, roof damage as well. You see one of those trees behind me. For reference, I'm a few inches shy of 6 foot. You can see just how high those roots go. And right behind it, that tree falling down right next to a home, completely destroyed. That tin roof behind it just wrapped around the tree. And if you keep coming down with me, Scott, we see a utility pole just snapped in half like a toothpick, a sight that we've seen all over this area. And then if you keep going over to my left, you see a home completely destroyed. I just talked with the owner of that home, Joanna. She said she did not want to speak with us on camera. Just looking at it with her in her driveway, she started tearing up. I want to show you some video that we saw earlier in Chauvin as well. We walked through the home of Brent and Brenda Terrio. He's lived there since he was a little boy, now lives there with his wife. He says it's a complete disaster. Across the street from their home, one completely destroyed as well. It just seems like we keep seeing destruction after destruction after destruction and heartbreak after heartbreak. It's nothing new for this area, and it's certainly something they say they'll be dealing with a while. You know, folks here say that this isn't even the worst of it. They said the further that they push down, and we push down toward Cocodrie, the worse it gets. The resilience of the people here, y'all, though, is incredible. Each person that we've met, regardless of if their home looks like this behind me, or if they're just dealing with roof damage or some trees in their yard, each of them determined to rebuild. Reporting live, Molly Oak, Eyewitness News.
Well, Molly, I know that seeing that devastation up close and personal has to be heartbreaking for you. This isn't your first time covering a storm. Can you compare what you're seeing now compared to what you've seen in the past?
It's hard, and you know, that's what I was just talking with Joanna about. I was born and raised in Fort Myers, Florida. We had Hurricane Charlie come through our area in the early 2000s, and it just pummeled the town about 20 minutes north of us. And it's hard to see. I get choked up talking about it. I get choked up talking with these folks, and all you can do is really give them a hug and tell them that you're thinking of them and just give them your best. But again, it's incredible to see the resilience of these folks. The last time I was down here in New Orleans was for Hurricane Katrina, doing a couple of mission trips, and y'all's resilience has not changed. It's truly, truly incredible, the people we've met, and it gives you a whole new perspective on life and just what to be grateful for.
And what to be thankful for, Molly. Thank you so much. And resiliency, as my parents like to say, It just runs through our veins. Well, as we've seen, thousands of our friends, neighbors, and family are in need of food, water, and shelter in the wake of Hurricane Ida.
WWL-TV is partnering with the United Way of Southeast Louisiana to make sure people in Jefferson, Orleans, Plaquemine, St. Bernard, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, and Washington parishes get the help they need. And a few of our friends from the Black and Gold have joined the cause by donating and spreading the word. Take a listen.
Why give? Because we're the New Orleans Saints. And this community, this New Orleans family, is a part of us.
We give because we have to stick together in our times of need. Why we must give is to be able to provide opportunities and resources to the people that are in need.
We're partnering with the United Way of Southeast Louisiana and WWL-TV to raise funds for Hurricane Ida relief, to keep dollars local, right where the impact is needed most. Trust us, we're giving too, so we can get help to our most vulnerable families.
When I think about why give, I believe to whom much is given, much is required. And so we've all been given much, no matter how much we have more than somebody. And so the best way to help someone is to give from what you have.
Well, there are 3 ways you can help. If you are able to donate, you can either scan the QR code on your screen right now, or you can go online. You can also volunteer your time and help your neighbors directly, and you can donate supplies at North Shore and South Shore drop-off locations.
Thanks to this drive, United Way is already working with local leaders and relief organizations to get water, food, ice, tarps, and supplies out to communities. More details on how to get involved are on our website, www.unitedwaysela.com/Ida Relief.
Well, happening now, Second Harvest Food Bank is handing out supplies at the Wagaman Playground. That's around 516, or located rather at 516 Dandelion Drive. The supplies expected are water, non-perishable food items, first aid kits, cleaning products, and toilet paper and paper towels.
We're going to head over now to meteorologist Alexandra Cranford, who has been relentlessly covering this storm for us. And Alexandra, people are hoping for a cool down. It is so warm out there for people recovering.
I know, it's so true. And we knew it was going to be followed. We would have Ida, and then it would be followed by this very slight break eventually in humidity. I don't know. It was still really hot today. So yeah, everyone without power just trying to do anything they can to stay cool. And I really hope that all of you who are hearing us from inside Southeast Louisiana somehow, that you do take it easy. Just remember, stay hydrated as much as you can. We're going to need that precaution type attitude tomorrow. Our highs today were 93, and tomorrow, once again, we're under one of these heat advisories again. So just a heads up, it could feel like, when you factor in the humidity that we do have, close to 100, maybe up to 105 in a few spots. So today was hot, even though we had a little break in humidity, and that will be the case tomorrow too. Current temperatures, lower 90s. You saw our highs were around 93. At least our feels like temperature isn't too bad in most spots. In fact, it's saying 94 at home. I wonder if the sensor could be possibly just a bit off. It probably is feeling super hot, but again, feeling like 90s to about 100. That's a lot better than it could be. Our live radar is very quiet right now, so we didn't actually have a lot of cloud cover or storms or rain showers to help with the heat like we have had in the past couple of days. We had a little bit of that, but we've got this very slightly drier and less moist kind of atmosphere over Southeast Louisiana right now, so not a huge rain chance tonight either. In fact, we'll have mostly clear skies, and I don't know about you, but one thing I have noticed in these spots without power, I don't know, have you looked up with mostly clear skies? The stars actually look really pretty. So I know not a time to really focus on, well, I guess we can focus on what little positives we have in this time. But anyway, the stars do look pretty. If you're in a neighborhood without power, maybe glance up if you want to tonight and see how that looks. Now, tomorrow looks very similar. Our high temperatures once again in the lower 90s, likely topping out near 90. The evening, not quite so bad. And we will be looking for our rain chance tomorrow, only about 20% for a couple of stray showers or storms. And of course, we're talking about the tropics. It's incredible, of course, that we've been talking so much about Ida, but we're still not quite at the peak of the season, of hurricane season yet, which is close. It's about a week away, September 10th. But of course, we're still looking at things happening in the tropics, including Larry out here, not going to affect us, it looks like. And the big thing you may have seen on social media, and you may be kind of thinking in your head, what's going to happen with this one? This is Invest 91L, just an area of investigation, just a little low pressure area right now. But we are expecting it to move from its general spot around Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, eventually into the Gulf. And this is sort of a very sort of tentative outlook, because some models are not developing this at all. Notice when I show you the models, some are just kind of bringing it out into the Bay of Campeche, but it does look like eventually we will likely be getting at least some tropical moisture from this, meaning rain, and that would likely be midweek. But there are some things that will inhibit its formation and its organization. It is not the same sort of setup that Ida had. Ida was moving into the Gulf, and there was just nothing to stop it as far as any shear or dry air. But look at this, our water vapor imagery is going to keep some dry air over the Gulf, and also we will have some unfavorable winds as we move into this week, and it looks like it will likely be along the Gulf Coast as far as that moisture goes, even if it's very messy, midweek. So we're only a few days away, so it's not going to have a whole lot of time, it looks like, to just kind of hover there and try to get going. It may just stay sort of messy. So for now, what we're saying is our rain chance going up a little bit on Labor Day, but more so Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe even early Thursday. We'll have to see. Wednesday might be the main day with rain from the tropical moisture surge that we will get. So we may have to increase the rain chance here to maybe 70% or higher. But interestingly, I was just looking at a couple of our models for how much rain we could get. And going all the way through Thursday night, the GFS only has maybe up to an inch or so. And interestingly, the European model as well has pretty manageable amounts, up to maybe 2 or so inches of rain. Now, this far out, please just take this with a grain of salt. This could go up, it could go down. We will see what happens. But I just wanted to give you a little heads up that it doesn't look like it's going to be barreling in here as, you know, a really strong system. It's going to have some things to fight against and to kind of keep it on the weaker side this time when that makes it into the Gulf. So models really are showing it either staying a messy rainmaker or at the very most, at the moment, a tropical storm. That would be on the highest end of the model guidance right now. So again, it's not developed. We'll have to kind of watch it. We will certainly keep you updated. For now, though, it looks like the main impact will be just some rain midweek, which of course we don't really need for everybody who has damage to their homes, people with roof damage especially, but it does look like that will be the main thing to watch for this week.
Now, rain is not exactly good news for a lot of people right now. Stay tuned with us here on WWL-TV.
We have more special coverage of the devastation left by Hurricane Ida up next. Hurricane Ida forced both LSU and Tulane to move their preparations for the upcoming football season out of the state.
While the Tigers were already scheduled to open the season in Pasadena against UCLA tonight, the Green Wave faced some challenges in trying to play its first game at Yulman Stadium versus number 2 ranked Oklahoma. Ricardo LeCompte has more in sports.
And Pratt going to throw it to him wide open. He walks in for the touchdown.
Tulane wanted to be on the national stage for this, hosting second-ranked Oklahoma on Saturday. Instead, the Green Wave misses out on a major game at its place, playing instead at the home of the Sooners, Norman, Oklahoma.
We've sold more season tickets this year than we, to my knowledge, than we ever have in the past. It's disappointing from that standpoint, but because we've been building toward it for a while.
The program will also take a financial hit for not playing in New Orleans.
We still have not resolved the refund situation and how we're going to handle that yet at our stadium. How are we going to refund partial season tickets? Is it going to be like COVID and we're going to ask folks to either take a credit or maybe donate to try to minimize the implications? Obviously, the gate's going to help. But, we've got a lot of additional expenses. Everybody came here with 3-day stuff. We've been making Walmart runs and Sam's Club runs. We bought a lot of things up here.
Over 250 football and volleyball student athletes, coaches, and support staff in that travel party right now in Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham also the location for next Saturday's football game against Morgan State. Now, despite not having their first 2 home games here on campus, Dannon says the morale within the program remains high.
It's not like, we've been here for a month and everybody's starting to get worn down by it. So I think spirits have been remarkably high, and certainly the news that power started to come back on in the city, I think that's given everybody a little more energy too, that we're going to be coming home faster and sooner than we expected when we left.
With football returning shortly after. Reporting uptown, Ricardo LeCompte, Eyewitness News.
Tulane did lose its game this morning, 40-35. The Green Wave's next opportunity to host a game will be on September 25th against UAB.
Athletic Director Troy Dannon expects to be back at Yulman Stadium by then and says they have until September 16th to make a final decision on playing the game at home or not.
Well, New Orleans leaders announced the city will offer public transportation to state-run Hurricane Ida shelters. RTA will pick people up from 12 facilities, including nursing homes and apartment complexes. The service began this morning at 9 a.m. and will continue from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every other day.
If you'd like to go to one of the shelters, you have 3 options. Go to one of these pickup locations. We have this list on our website and on our free app. You can take an RTA bus to the convention center or take a coach bus directly to one of the shelters. If you are in a senior living facility, you can call 311 to be picked up.
You can also apply for federal assistance by calling the number on your screen, 1-800-621-3362, or you can visit the website disasterassistance.gov. We posted the link on our app and website at WWL-TV.com.
We're keeping track of which businesses are open in New Orleans. We know so much right now can be tough to come by, including gas, food, Wi-Fi, all kinds of things. So text us the word open, the number 529-4444, and we will send you a link to the list. You can also find it on our website, WWL-TV.com. And if you see somewhere that is open, here's where you can help out. Post it to Twitter with the hashtag OpenNOLA, and we will add it to our list.
The good news, Devin, I drove by a couple of gas stations, and typically we see that line down the street, and one gas station had no line, people just getting gas normally, the one close to the Eyewitness News studios. And we've seen the line there for the past couple of days.
It was like 4 hours long at one point, people pushing their cars up to the pump. So hopefully that's a good sign that more gas stations are kind of getting online, getting some gas in. And power, too, is the big thing. Yeah, but as more power starts to come back on, the less need for gas to run those generators. And we want to make it easier for you to find information for your area. Take a look at the screen and find the number next to your parish, and you text that number to 504-529-4444. So that way you get specific information like road conditions and power status, school closings, and so much more. We know the situation is so different for so many different parishes. So if I'm in Orleans, I'll text the number 1 to 529-4444. Jefferson Parish 2, of course, Lafourche 7, Tangipahoa 8, so on and so forth. Stay tuned with us here on WWL-TV. We have some more special coverage of the devastation left by Hurricane Ida when we return.
Well, supplies are being handed out in many locations around the area, including Slidell.
That is where we find our Jalissa Garza. She's from our Tegna family and is reporting live tonight. Jalissa?
Hey there, that's right. We're here at the distribution center in Slidell. That's at Fritchie Park on Howsey Beach Road. It just wrapped up at 6 o'clock, but it started at 8 a.m. this morning. Take a look at some of the supplies here that they were handing out. The National Guard giving out water. Also over here, we've got those meals that are ready to eat. And they tell us that they served over 1,000 cars today. And since we last checked in with y'all, that line was getting longer and longer. Again, they were giving out water, tarps, ice, meals that are ready to eat. All of these supplies coming from FEMA, and they're gonna be here again tomorrow. So they'll be here at 8 a.m. again until 6 p.m. So if you're in need of any of those supplies, you can head on over here tomorrow at 8 a.m. in Slidell at Fritchie Park on Howsey Beach Road. Now, a lot of the people I spoke with today, some of them were just getting back into Louisiana, saying that they were just thankful that there was help, that there was ice, that there was water, that they could get some supplies before heading back to their home. Again, the National Guard will be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Reporting live in Slidell, Jalissa Garza, back to you.
Have you seen, Jalissa, have you seen a lot of people coming out to that area, to those points of distributions, or have they run out of supplies?
So they didn't run out of supplies, but they did tell me that they weren't going to go past 6 o'clock.
Okay.
The National Guard tells me that they got here at 7 a.m. to set up. You can still see some of their setup. They do have some people staying here. Again, since they'll be here again tomorrow morning, they want to be ready to have more supplies for everyone. And the sergeant did tell me that he was really thankful that they didn't run out of any supplies, but they had been out here for so long that they're going to go recharge and get ready to come back in the morning to hand out more supplies to everyone.
And a big thank you to our National Guard troops. We know that they need their rest just as well because they're working around the clock, of course, to support and help the surrounding communities. Jalissa, thank you so much. Well, FEMA says it has received a record number of applications for aid following Ida.
And many of those applicants are still waiting to get the much needed assistance. They tell us the process is not easy. Candace Charles has more.
Everything is soaked.
Brandy Bourgeois fled her home in Jefferson Parish the day before Hurricane Ida made landfall. Friday was the first time in nearly a week that she was able to return home.
There's just no way to live here, and I don't know where we're going to live.
A peeled-off roof, water damage, mold. It's what's left of her home. She says she filed insurance claims Saturday before Ida hit, but with a host of uncertainty in that process, she applied for FEMA assistance Monday.
Applying was not easy. Just making your password was not easy.
The next day, she found that she was denied, but was approved for $500 in miscellaneous funds. She has yet to see that money and knows it won't be enough to support her family.
I have kids that are counting on me. I don't know what to tell them. I try not to let them see me cry, but I don't know what to tell them.
Now Bourgeois is one of hundreds of thousands waiting for FEMA funding. Many applicants were denied, but to the immigrant community, just being an applicant is a privilege many of them are not provided.
It's the same thing that everyone's going through, but they're not going to get a FEMA check. They're not going to get their hotels reimbursed.
Alfredo Salazar and Rachel Tabor of Union Migrante have been helping immigrants impacted by Hurricane Ida, the organization that's transported evacuees to Panama City. But with many immigrant evacuees lacking a social security card, they're unable to apply for financial assistance, no matter how bad they may need it.
We're seeing again a government system that favors the rich and leaves behind the poor and those who are undocumented. The homes are not in good condition, and it's very easy that, you know, a strong wind can cause massive damage.
You can see how we're living right now. Maria de Los Angeles Hijole is living in such a house.
My biggest concern is for my kids.
She and her children stayed behind in New Orleans because even if they got a ride out of the parish, they wouldn't be able to sustain themselves. And she's unable to get FEMA assistance.
Ayuden, ya que hemos sufrido bastante. Look at the situation we're living in.
She says she helped rebuild New Orleans as a hurricane relief worker after Hurricane Katrina. And now she's asking FEMA for help.
The city got back on its feet, and it's heartbreaking that now the city doesn't want to return the favor and support the immigrant community.
A little assistance is all these families are asking for after enduring such a horrific disaster.
They're asking for help.
Please, we need help.
Candace Charles, Eyewitness News.
All right, Candace, thank you. Stay tuned with us here on WWL-TV.
More special coverage of the devastation left behind by Hurricane Ida up next.
Thank you for sticking with us. We are joined now on the phone by St. John Parish President Jacqueline Hotard.
We know that many communities there were hit really hard by this storm. Ms. Hotard, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Very busy day for you just yesterday. President Biden in town. Of course, you had an opportunity to sit down with him and direct him or address him directly regarding the needs of St. John the Baptist Parish. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that conversation went and his response to what you guys needed?
Yes, we had a very good conversation. You know, I obviously thanked him for coming here and seeing firsthand the devastation that St. John has experienced. I also thanked him for calling out insurance companies for distinguishing between mandatory and voluntary evacuation. And I let him know that our immediate needs are power, water, communications, and financial assistance for those who can't return home and are forced to stay somewhere else during this recovery. And I made those needs very clear to him. And again, we were so grateful that he was able to be here in St. John and in the region just to see how devastated we are from Hurricane Ida with flood, wind, and there are so many needs that our community has right now. So we were grateful to get that spotlight on our region as a whole right now.
Okay, well, you know, last time I had an opportunity to speak with you, we talked a little bit more about the water situation in St. John the Baptist Parish. Can you tell us about the recovery updates that you have there?
Yes, water has been restored to the majority of the parish right now. However, I want to remind our residents that even though we've got water in the majority of the parish right now, it's still possible that the water goes out again, because as pressure builds and leaks are revealed, sometimes you lose all of that pressure that you've built up. So right now there is running water in the majority of our parish. However, I want our residents to know there's a possibility that it can go out again. We're hopeful that it won't, but but leaks can continue. You know, that pressure can fluctuate as leaks are found and then repaired. But right now, water is in a good place. There's still no electricity anywhere in the parish, but at least we've got a little bit water right now.
I know that we heard that there were some restoration estimates that were possibly set for your parish. What are you hearing from power company there?
There's a good presence from the power companies. I did, just a survey through the parish today on the airline. I mean, poles are going up. There are energy contractors, if you will, all throughout the parish. There's a heavy presence right now. So we're grateful for that. They said that they were able to get some of the main lines, if you will, hot is what they called it, with electricity. Still not to any homes or businesses just yet, but that was a promising sign for them that they were able to get some juice to those larger repairs that they've made. It's still going to be a long time. I don't want to give a false impression to anyone. It's still going to be a long time, but they are working and things are moving very quickly. But there is a heavy presence of energy and their contractors on the ground in St. John, and we're so grateful for that. It is a desperate need to have power to our residents as quickly as possible.
I know, it's really unfortunate because we come off of a year of dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are now going on 2 years almost of dealing with this pandemic. And then we have Hurricane Ida, and that pandemic impacted so many businesses and so many communities. And now you have Hurricane Ida that's come into this community and completely ravaged it. And you have so many people coming back home or attempting to come back home to clean up some of that damage and not knowing when they're going to get power.
It's tough. It's definitely tough. I'll tell you, though, St. John, like the rest of the region, we're very resilient. We've done this before, and I believe this is going to give us an opportunity to just rebuild better, if you will, and just revitalize our community. I'm hopeful for that, and every test there's a testimony. It's not just a catchphrase. I believe it's going to be true for St. John and our entire region. We will come through this better.
Well, I have family over in St. John the Baptist, so I hope my family members are listening to this and hearing some hope that we will come back better and stronger. I have to ask you, as a leader of the parish, I know that you are probably working 24 hours as we are here at Eyewitness News. How are you and your family doing?
We're doing well. I mean, my home flooded. I had 3 feet of water in my car. I hate to even say it because it's not even about me right now. But we're doing well, and we're alive. Everyone. I was in the community a little bit today. It's hot. We're hungry. At the time we didn't have any running water in LaPlace. We had it in reserve in Garyville and the West Bank. But I said we are alive, and that's a blessing. It gives us another day to continue to move forward and just proceed. So we're holding up. It's challenging. I won't deny that, everyone's running on not a lot of, food and those kinds of things, just mentally. But like I said, our community is resilient, and knowing that I have the weight of the parish on my shoulders, it gives me what I need to just press forward every single day. This community means so much to me. I've born and raised here, my family, grandparents, generations, like many people, in this region where you have generations of your family. And I'm just grateful to be able to lead them and work tirelessly for the residents. Every day won't be perfect. Every mission we try and carry out won't be a success, but the residents do know, and I hope they do know, that I wake up and I go to bed with that on my mind, and we will make it through this.
Yeah, we'll certainly. Every day it gets better and better, and hopefully we get more assistance on the grounds there. For residents that are listening to this, I know that we're streaming this live on Facebook, and people have asked about those communities. They are afraid that they're going to be forgotten about, especially after we saw Hurricane Ida make its way up to the northeast and cause a similar destruction and damage in those communities. Is there anything that you would like the residents watching here to know?
Just to stay in contact with us. We put information out all of the time. Another thing, contractor fraud. I've seen signs go up all over the parish about contractors doing things. Contractors fraud will be at an all-time high. Please, please, please don't, give anybody any cash up front or anything like that. And if you have a question, please call our Emergency Operations Center about, even if it's a contractor, check and make sure they're licensed. I'm really just concerned because in a time of desperation, people take advantage of that. But I want our residents to know that we are here. We're making significant progress, and we will continue to do that. We've got pod sites open in several locations throughout the parish where there's water, ice, and MREs. We've got feeding sites going on as well, and all of that information is on our website and Facebook pages, and we're sending it out through text messages. We realize that some people don't have access, and we're doing the best that we can with getting that information out. We've got fire department and other resources delivering ice and water into the neighborhoods because we know some people can't get out. I was in the neighborhoods today as well, helping with ice, just so that the community, they know we're here. The communication has made it so hard because people can't call us like they want to, but it is important to me for this community to know that we are working hard and we will all pull through this thing together.
All right. As soon as you get more updates, we will be glad to have you back here on Eyewitness News to share that with the community. We're thankful that you and your family are doing okay, and we see the hard work that you're doing down there at the parish. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Parish President Jacqueline Hotard joining us. Thank you. You have a good one as well. All right, while we were doing that interview, we actually had some breaking news that came in. This is regarding that nursing home investigation that we broke here on Eyewitness News. We are just learning from State Health Officer Dr. Joseph Cantor that he has ordered the immediate closure of the 7 nursing homes that evacuated to Independence last Friday ahead of Hurricane Ida.
And those seven facilities are really all over the area. They include River Palms Nursing and Rehab in Orleans Parish, South Lafourche Nursing and Rehab in Lafourche Parish, Maison Orleans Healthcare Center in Orleans, Park Place Healthcare Nursing Home in Jefferson, West Jefferson Healthcare Center in Jefferson, Maison DeVille Nursing Home in Terrebonne, and Maison DeVille Nursing Home of Harvey, also in Jefferson. Yeah, I know that this is not the last thing that we're going to hear about this. We heard Governor Edwards say that they will take aggressive legal action if necessary, and that this is simply the beginning of this investigation. Several families have reached out to Eyewitness News, and they learned of the news of their family members being packed inside of a warehouse with more than 800 people, cots on top of each other, and apparently living in deplorable conditions. On Eyewitness News, watching us here, that's at the same time that Attorney General Jeff Landry said that he found out about the news and watching it on air. So again, those nursing homes were ordered to close down, all 7 of them, pending further investigation. And of course, we're seeing here in a statement saying today's action against these facilities is needed. There is more to come. Our department's mission is to advance the health and well-being of our residents, and that includes our vulnerable nursing home residents. And this was such a horrible story, Cherise, and we saw the live images from there. 7 people from that incident have now died. We saw some of them being wheeled out with incredibly swollen extremities. I think about a dozen of them were taken to the hospital after all of this. Just horrible. And if you are someone who is missing a loved one and cannot track them down after this, you should call 211. They're coordinating with the LDH's Office of Aging and Adult Services, which helps to connect your family to you. So we know that they've already connected with 200 families of nursing home residents who were evacuated to that facility in Tangipahoa Parish. Well, I don't know if our producers could do this. I know that we had a picture and also we had some sound. We spoke with one of the nurses that was inside of that warehouse building, and a picture that was sent to us kind of showing the conditions that some of our most vulnerable people, can you imagine your grandparents being put in these positions? And we also spoke to people once they found out this was happening outside of the warehouse, attempting to get to their family members. Some of those people were moved from that nursing home or from that temporary location to different facilities. Majority of them had been relocated by Thursday. One of those facilities was over at LSU, but there were still, again, family members who were not allowed inside to have a conversation with their loved ones, to check on them. Obviously, it's a desperate situation. Everyone is dealing with a lot of despair here, and they want to make sure that our most vulnerable in our state
are taken care of. So, of course, a black eye on these nursing homes, and they all have been ordered to shut down. So far, we have been working to get in touch with the owner of those nursing homes.
There's a photo here.
Yeah, this is the picture here that was inside of that nursing home.
Just awful. I mean, you can see how jammed people are in there. And as you mentioned, Charisse, at one point, part of the facility flooded. They were trying to move people. But, you know, we heard from staff members who said there just were not enough caretakers there to make sure everyone was safe. And we saw the results of that. 7 people who unfortunately passed away. And now those nursing homes that were evacuated will not be reopening anytime soon.
All right. So again, Dr. Joseph Cantor is saying they're taking immediate action today to protect public health. Take a look at your screen. The 7 facilities involved: River Palms Nursing and Rehab, South Lafourche Nursing and Rehab, Maison Orleans, Park Place, West Jefferson Healthcare Center, Maison de Ville Nursing Home. They have 2 of them, Maison de Ville Nursing Home and Maison de Ville Nursing Home of Harvey. Those 7 locations are ordered to close immediately due to the conditions that they found these vulnerable members of our community in. And we know that we spoke with someone with LDH, or rather we listened to someone with the Louisiana Department of Health and Governor Edwards say that they had been made aware of the conditions of this nursing home. They had checked up on this nursing home to see, or excuse me, checked up on the warehouse that the nursing home residents were evacuated to. And they approved it for about 100 residents. But you go from 100 to 800 with, of course, the conditions deteriorating right before you, as they have across the entire region as Hurricane Ida swept through. And then you had LDH members, after they had received a tip that they were living in deplorable conditions. They attempted, they have not said who tried to do this, but whoever was kind of holding up in this facility attempted to stop LDH officers from going inside to check out the conditions to make sure everything was okay. And that's when they knew something was up.
Yeah, they attempted and they succeeded. They did not let LDH in. I've got somebody on Twitter who just said, where are these people supposed to go now that these facilities are shut down? But I mean, honestly, there's probably no power or maybe even no water at some of these facilities right now anyway. A lot of these people were evacuated to the LSU field house and to other locations. Some of them were taken to the hospital. So, I mean, honestly, some of these people might not be going back to these facilities anytime soon based on the condition here in Southeast Louisiana. But now those families, we know how difficult it can be to even get a family member in a nursing home. Now these people are now going to have to find somewhere else to go.
I know, and it's unfortunate that we lost who we did lose. 7 deaths at this nursing home, 5 of which have been classified as storm-related. Of course, you have to wait for the coroner to give that classification, but you know, it's unfortunate. And several people that had to be taken to the hospital. I believe that, Devin, if you can correct me here, is this today that they evacuated those residents from outside of the warehouse?
Yes, this is right as that was happening. Our Erica Ferrando was up there. I believe this was in Independence, and you can see them taking people out. And when we got there, I want to say it was around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they had started evacuating people at 7 a.m. And because there were so many people in that warehouse, they were still working when we caught wind of this, and we were able to come there and start shooting some video. So just to be clear here, this ambulance service here has nothing to do with these nursing homes. There were 7 nursing homes that our investigative team found out were all owned by the same person, and that person also has some affiliation with the warehouse that everyone was evacuated to. So our Katie Moore has been kind of digging into this, and I'm sure this is only the beginning. There has been promised a very big investigation, and of course at this time, those people will not be returning to those nursing homes anytime soon.
So I guess, again, the big question that you have here is where do they go from here? I know that they're in temporary housing facilities, and of course they need to have somewhere to go. So we're going to keep our eye on this investigation. I think that this is just only the beginning.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, we'll be right back.
Ida literally divided two communities when it severely damaged the bridge that connects Lafitte to Barataria. Today, that began to change with the arrival of a military bridge over Bayou Barataria. A sign of hope for a community that was hit hard by Hurricane Ida. And joining us now to talk more about that is the mayor of Lafitte, Tim Kerner Jr. Hi, Mayor Kerner. How are you? Can you hear us?
Yeah, we're doing okay down here. We're just doing it step by step, and we're working relentlessly to try to get back on track.
Can you tell us what a difference it will make to have that bridge back in place? What will that enable you all to do down there?
Well, look, this has got to be not only Lafitte, not only Jefferson Parish, but the state of Louisiana. It's number one priority. These people were hit by relentless winds, high water, and not only that, to add on top of that suffering, that bridge got taken out. It's the only way to get in and out. It's the only way to get emergency vehicles and personnel on that side. It is to have this bridge in place would be a huge thing. We already had 6 houses that burned down because we couldn't get a fire department down there.
Can you tell us what kind of needs you all have? What are the urgent needs, and what kind of resources are already in place for people right now down there?
Well, right now it was de-water. First thing before you could do anything, you had to de-water. As the water's receding, we are getting to work to clear the roads. So if you came in 2 days ago and you drove in today, it looks like a much cleaner place, and we're trying to get people to get to where they are going. Now we got a bunch of supplies that were given out at the Jerusalem Pavilion and also at Town Hall. So that's for Lafitte, Barataria, Crown Point residents that's been hit so hard. I'm still encouraging the residents. Look, I understand you got livelihood, your boat here that you make a living on that you have to check on, and I understand, come check on it. And you have to salvage things in your home if you got roof damage and water in it or flooding, so come down here. But if you're just coming down to sightsee and see, please just stay where you are. FEMA is offering money for you to have get a hotel room, stay with you and let us do this work. And look, and really, the main goal now is to get our town hall clean, get FEMA mobilized down here, because I want the residents, the most vulnerable residents that can't afford insurance, I want them to know that we are going to do everything we can to make you whole again. And that is going to be one of our biggest concerns biggest focuses going forward, is to try to make them whole again.
Mayor Kerner, we are out of time, but thank you so much. I hope you all are doing okay down there. Thank you all so much for joining us for our special coverage of the aftermath from Hurricane Ida.
It will have more tonight on the Saturday edition of the Eyewitness News at 10.